All right, guys, listen up, please. You have some instructions on the screen. If you don't already have your Chromebook out, let's go ahead and get those out. And I need y'all to just stop your conversations for a minute. I'm only going to talk for just a couple minutes, and then you're going to have the rest of the period to be working independently. Today you're going to complete the rest of the RA. Today is really the only other class day that we have for the RA. What you're going to do today is pretty much the same thing you did yesterday. You're going to conduct the same experiment, but you're going to grab a second car that is different than the first one. So if you don't remember, let's start there. If you don't remember what car you had yesterday, go ahead and open up your RA and find that, and look, and you might say red car number 3. Okay, and then when you come up in a minute, just make sure you grab something that isn't the same. Okay, it doesn't matter which one it is, it just cannot be the same one that you already did. Okay, today you're going to be working on part 2 of the RA, and then there are some analysis questions that go with part 2, and then there are some analysis questions over both parts 1 and 2, and then part 3, and you're going to have to start on that, which is kind of the whole purpose behind what I want you to get out of this lab is really part 3. So again, you're going to be getting another car in a minute, and you're going to then be gathering data the same way you did yesterday. It shouldn't take you too long since you've done it once. You probably have the hang of it. So you'll probably be able to get your data in 5 or 10 minutes, and then you'll have the rest of the period to work on all of those questions. But here is what I'm getting at. This is in part 3. You will predict where the two cars will collide with each other. So let me go ahead and open up the document first, because what you're going to be doing after that is either tomorrow or Friday, depending on if you're ready tomorrow, you'll actually we'll be testing your predictions. Okay, so let me open it up and show you where that part is so you can see what I'm talking about. So this is your relevant application document. Again, you did part 1 the other day, so you should have everything finished hopefully already all the way down here through the end of this, Analyze Graph 1. Hopefully you did that already. If not, you're a little bit behind, but you've got time today. Part 2, this is where you're starting today. You're going to perform the same experiment with a different car, use the same procedure, gather data, at least 5 data points, and record in the table. Again, there is a spot here for you to write down which car you have. You need to write down which one, because when we actually test your prediction, if you don't have the right cars, your prediction is going to be off because they're all a little bit different. Okay, so please make sure you label that there. And then again, just like yesterday, here is where your data is going to go. You're going to graph it just like yesterday. Here is where your graph is going to go. And if you keep scrolling, here's those couple of questions about the graph, and then here's the analysis for the first 2 parts. It's just these 5 questions. So you're going to be answering these. You're welcome to work together, but again, make sure that you are typing in your own document. Part 3, again, this is the main focus of this, is being able to use that data to do something, in this case to make a prediction. It says, if the 2 cars are released blank meters apart so that they drive towards one another, where will they collide? Okay, now there's a blank there because I'm going to give you a number to fill in, and I have the numbers already written on the board. I just need to assign you a group number. Okay, so once I have done that, you'll be able to fill it in. I haven't done that yet. You'll have to give me a little bit of time because I'm going to make a chart and make sure I have it all labeled on my end so that I can grade you appropriately. But you're going to get a number to fill in there. And then you're going to brainstorm different methods that may be helpful to answer the problem above. So once you know everything about those 2 cars, you should have enough information, not should, you will have enough information to answer this question. Okay, and so you need to think of how you're going to answer it, and you're going to brainstorm with your group, and then it says, in the space below, describe how you solved for this collision position by using either graphical analysis, algebraic reasoning, or both. Okay, I'm telling you that you can answer this question with either a graph or with algebra. Okay, that's what that says right there. Okay, and so I'm going to also give you a little bit of a hint. It's on my board as well. I would recommend that whenever you are starting to answer this question, you start by drawing a picture of the scenario. Just draw the cars, like maybe on a number line, how far apart they would be, and then think of how would I graph the motion of these. Okay, because I'm going to be honest, starting with the graph is a lot easier than going straight to the algebra. You can draw or sketch a graph out and then go to the algebra, or you could actually use the graph to answer it. But you're going to need to have that information there. Okay, there's a couple ways you can do it. There's not just one way. But if you want to get full credit, you're going to need to include all of your supporting work, any images and or calculations in the box below. You're welcome to type math in here, but I'm sure you probably, if you're like me, probably don't like to type math. It's kind of a difficult thing to type. So you can insert an image instead. So if you work it out on paper, you're welcome to take a picture of your math or a picture of your graph or whatever it is, however you solved it, and insert it into this box that's here. Okay, but you can do both. You can type and put a picture. So you can put the picture and say, we calculated blah, blah, blah. Okay, my work is above. But your prediction, whatever it is, needs to be to the nearest centimeter. Okay, so it really does need to be something that you calculate in some way or that you find out quantitatively from a graph. It's not just, it's probably going to be at about 2. Okay, not like that. It needs to be 2 meters. It needs to be to the nearest centimeter. Okay, so like in that case, you could have like 2.11. Okay, if you're leaving it in meters, the nearest centimeter is going to be the hundredths place. Okay, so heads up on that. So it needs to be backed up by something. If it's just a number in here, you're not going to be getting credit. This is 15 points. Okay, so make sure you're paying attention. The last part of the RA is the conclusion. This is the only portion that you can't do until after we actually run your test. So you have to make a prediction first. Hopefully you get that done today. If not, you're going to be working on that outside of class. Okay, and then tomorrow or on Friday, depending on when you're ready, we'll take those 2 cars, we'll actually test it, we'll see where they collide, and you'll record it in here. So you can't do this until we do the actual experiment itself, but you'll be recording your answer in here. And then the only thing after that's the rubric. So hopefully you've already looked at the rubric, but if not, there is a rubric at the end. Please make sure that you are doing everything that you need to get full credit. Okay, so if you haven't looked yet, it's back here. So anyway, that is what you're doing today. You can't do any of the prediction stuff though until you first gather data. So what I need you guys to do is you need to retrieve your materials. Again, meter sticks are on the back counter. There's one over there. I've got a few up at the front as well. The cars are all up at the front in this box. Again, make sure you don't grab the same one. You do have permission, at least one person in your group anyway has permission to have a cell phone out in order to use it as a stopwatch. And so you're going to gather data, and hopefully that only takes you a few minutes. And then you can start the process of answering those questions, getting your graph, answering those questions, analyzing it, making a prediction. Go ahead and get your supplies and get started. If you have any questions, please let me know. All right, guys, it looks like most of you are finished collecting your data. So I am going to assign you guys a group number momentarily. On the board, you're going to see groups 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 with different distances beside them. Let me show you where you're going to type it. Once I give you a group number, in your relevant application document, if you will scroll down with me, we're looking for part 3. This is where this information's about to, where you need to put it. Okay, so again, you may not be there yet. That's right now, all you're going to do is you're going to fill in this blank, okay, depending on what number I give you. Okay, so if you're in group 1, if you end up being in group 1, then in that blank, you're going to be typing 3 meters, because that's what I wrote on the board for group 1. Okay, and you're also going to type it here, because again, what you're ultimately going to be testing either tomorrow or Friday is, hey, if I take these cars and I put them some distance apart that I give you and run them so that they are moving toward one another, at what point will they collide? That's the question that you're going to be trying to answer. So I'm giving you randomized values to fill in there. So you guys need to actually fill in the value. That way, when you get home later, you remember what it is. That way you can work on it if you don't finish it in class. Okay, so again, if you'll listen up, all I need you to do is type your number into that blank. So I'm going to assign you guys some group numbers, and then you should be good to just go individually, independently, or work as a group on the questions and on this part 3 prediction for the rest of your RA. Again, we'll be testing this either tomorrow if you're ready or on Friday. The RA itself is due on Friday. Okay, so you need to make sure that you are ready. When you come into class on Friday, you have to be ready to test, because I'm not going to be waiting for you the whole period. And if you don't get it tested that day, then your RA is going to be late. Okay, so you need to have this part 3 has to be done, okay, in order for us to do that test. All right, so let me go ahead and give you guys your group numbers. You need to record them, and then you should be good to just work for the rest of the period with your group or individually if you prefer, and just ask questions if you have any.